One of the rarest and most profitable Bitcoin metric signals is about to flash another buy entry. And there's a good chance this will be the last one we get this cycle. Today, we're going to be looking at one of the best Bitcoin buy signals and the fact that it is about to give us an entry flash. And to start off with, we'll start on the Bitcoin hash rate chart, which is where this buy signal is derived from. Now, the Bitcoin hash rate is looking at the total computational power supplying the network and competing to mine BTC blocks, not only the Bitcoin block fees, but also for the block reward, which after the most recent halving has dropped 50% from 6.25 BTC per block, or about every 10 minutes, to 3.125 BTC. Now, if we go to the hash ribbons chart here, what this is looking at is two moving averages of that hash rate, the 30-day or about the month, and the 60-day or about the 2-month hash rate. And what we can see is when these moving averages cross the 30-day beneath the 60-day, this gives us these red shaded areas, which indicate that potentially miners are capitulating. And once we see miners capitulate, this is actually a very rare signal and a very rare opportunity to potentially buy when there's blood in the streets. What we can see is every single time after these turn from this red and especially after this pinky color into the clear background, this is when we get this buy signal. It's when the 30-day has crossed back above the 60-day, and especially when it's gone from this red color means we're in an uptrend, and this pink color means that we may have crossed above, but we're actually in a downtrend in price action. So that's not actually the clearest signal. So we can see in every single one of these, apart from one here in 2022 during our most recent bear market, they've all been profitable signals, every single one. So this is definitely a metric we need to be looking at. And if we just zoom in on the most recent price action here, we can see that we've recently had this cross beneath, which is actually very typical for where we are at this stage in the cycle. If we go to the miner revenue chart of block rewards we have here, we can see after the most recent halving event that miners are only now earning about 400 BTC a day, which is obviously not too bad, but 50% lower than where it was previously. And if we go to something like the Bitcoin Puel multiple chart, this is actually giving us a good indication that the market has nicely cooled off a little bit. This is looking at miner earnings on today's day compared to a 365 or yearly average of Bitcoin miner earnings. And once this dips significantly, like it has done after this halving, indicates that miners are earning less than usual. And if we look at the current rating, which is less than 1, it indicates they're actually earning less than they usually do, only about 75% of what they were used to, which is obviously a pretty significant drop in earnings, especially if we looked only a few months ago. This was at 2.44, indicating that they were earning nearly 2.5 times their yearly average. So this is obviously a very big indication. If miners are capitulating, it gives us a little bit of confidence that maybe we should buy when there's blood in the streets, act as a contrarian. And if we just go onto TradingView here, with a look into Bitcoin site subscription, you actually get access to a number of TradingView indicators, such as this one, which is the hash ribbons indicator. Now, this doesn't actually include the pink shaded area that indicates that the hash ribbons have crossed back above in a bullish manner, but price is still trending to the downside. But we can identify where those are. There's only a couple instances where this happens. But if we look throughout all of Bitcoin's price history, and especially if we look at something like this is the miner earnings chart just showing block rewards like we saw previously, this highlights these halving periods. And if we go to all the way back to 2012 at our first halving event, we could see that, again, very soon after the halving, we had this bearish hash rate ribbon cross. And after that, we got this huge rally to the upside, the double peak cycle in 2013, which was a huge exponential increase in price following this buy signal. And again, in 2016, we get the same signal. Price was only a few $100s, around $500 to $600 at this period of time. And then price rallied to $20,000. So this is huge increases once we got these post-halving hash ribbon signals. Now, the most recent cycle was a little bit choppier. We got a few signals, but almost all of them were still profitable. But we didn't just get the one signal post-halving. We actually had a couple of them before we reached our actual all-time high. What we can see throughout all of Bitcoin's history, from the 17 signals we've had from the hash ribbons, 15 of them have been profitable, which is a pretty exceptional accuracy rate. And if we just look to the percentage increases we typically see after these most powerful hash ribbons buy signals, which is the ones just after a halving event, we can see we're looking at thousands of percent gains in all but the most recent cycle. We can see in the first 2012 cycle, in this 2016 into 2017 cycle, and even though it wasn't the cleanest signal in 2020, we can see if we just ignore that hash ribbon signal here up to the all-time high, again, it's hundreds and hundreds of percent. And if we zoom in now, we are getting the exact same signal. We actually see every single cycle, and that really indicates when we get that buy signal that we're probably entering the latter stages of the bull market, and we're about to see some exponential price increases. Also, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to ensure you're receiving all of our content as soon as it's released. And make sure to check out all the resources we've discussed today, as well as the many more that are all available on lookintobitcoin.com, your number one source for Bitcoin information. So just to summarize, the hash ribbons indicator for BTC presents two moving averages of the Bitcoin hash rate, or the computational power securing the Bitcoin network, and highlights periods of potential miner capitulation, especially once we see miner earnings drop significantly, especially post-halving. We really should be acting as a contrarian, buying when there's blood in the streets. And what we can see from really most look into Bitcoin metrics is acting as a selective contrarian historically outperforms the vast majority of market participants. And I say selective contrarian because just because price is increasing and people are bullish doesn't mean you have to be bearish. We need to look when there's extreme periods where you need to be a contrarian, when there's extreme euphoric greed, or when there's extreme fear from miners or retail or institutions. This is when we need to look to metrics like this to try and be a contrarian at the most opportune moments. And these hash ribbons buy signals are definitely the most opportune moments, and historically have been one of Bitcoin's best and most reliable profit indicators of upcoming positive price action, especially when occurring just after a BTC halving event. We can see of the last three signals we got from this, two of them led to immediate price rallies to thousands of percent to the next all-time high. The only slight different one was in the most recent 2020 cycle, where we actually got a couple hash ribbon signals before we reached that all-time high. But either way, it has an incredibly strong strike rate throughout all of Bitcoin's price history, and we definitely should be paying attention to hopefully take action once we get this next upcoming hash ribbon signal. If you liked this video, then please visit lookintobitcoin.com, where you can also consider becoming a site subscriber to gain access to professional resolution charts, advanced macro and portfolio data tools, in-depth crypto industry reports, live and personalized indicator alerts, private TradingView scripts like we use today, and lots more, all for a fraction of the standard industry price. And let me know in the comments below and on social media, will you be taking action once we get this next Bitcoin hash ribbons buy signal, or do you think that maybe it's run its course, maybe it's not going to be as accurate in the future going forward? Maybe the barriers to entry for new miners entering the space means it's maybe not as reliable as it once was. Either way, I'll definitely be taking action once we get that flashing buy signal. And as I said, let me know in the comments below. I look forward to reading and replying to all of them. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.